All right. The First Amendment. It's our constitutional right. It's what empowers us to say whatever we want. But apparently, constitutional rights don't apply at some universities, including Texas Christian University. Student Harry Vincent was put on probation and effectively muzzled after posting a series of comments on social media criticizing ISIS, the Baltimore rioters, and Mexicans. Joining us right now on the phone is Texas Christian University student Harry Vincent. Harry, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Trisha.
So I want to first start and let our viewers know exactly what you did here. I believe this was on your Twitter account that you criticized residents of Baltimore. You called them hood rat criminals that need to be shipped off and exiled to the Sahara.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe then they'll realize how much we provide for them in welfare, college tuition, Medicare. You also wrote about Islam, saying it's not a religion of peace, and you referred to Mexicans using a derogatory term. Obviously none of this is good, but did you think you'd wind up in the trouble you're in right now over these tweets?
Absolutely not. I tweeted these things on my own personal social media account, and, I thought that TCU, I wouldn't have thought in a million years that TCU would punish me the way they have for expressing my First Amendment rights.
Harry, what happened?
I was suspended under abeyance by Dean Gloria Robinson. Pretty much that means is that I can go to TCU solely for academic purposes, meaning I can't go to football games, can't use the rec center. In order to work in a group of partners, I would have to get her permission first. If there was, a group project in the classroom, I wouldn't be allowed to live in the residence halls. And she went as far as to say that if I were to step foot in the residence hall, that I would be considered a trespasser on TCU's property.
What are you going to do about it, Harry?
Right now, I'm talking with a legal team, and we're deciding on, what the next steps are going to be. We haven't yet decided on a course of action to take, though.
All right. Well, Harry Vincent, thank you so much for joining me here today. I want to continue this conversation about what's happening on college campuses when it comes to the First Amendment. And for that, I'm joined right now by our senior judicial analyst, Judge Napolitano. Judge, always good to see you.
Likewise, Trish.
What's your take on this particular situation?
Well, the first few words of the First Amendment provide the answer. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. The First Amendment only protects us from government interference with speech. It doesn't generally, I'll give you the exceptions, protect us from private interference with speech. So you and I could be disciplined by our bosses here for something that we say on air that they prefer we not say, because in their view our words harm to the product, whereas we could say those things on a street corner, just as this young man could say on a street corner what he said in his Twitter and in his social media. Here's the interesting issue. I don't know if TCU receives federal education grants, because if it does receive money from the federal government, that money has strings. And ordinarily, those strings provide for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, thereby imposing on a private institution, this Christian school that he attends, the same level of respect for human freedom that would be on a public institution. So, for example, if this were Rutgers University, owned by the state of New Jersey, he absolutely, positively could not be punished in any way for his speech, because the state of New Jersey has the same burden that the First Amendment imposes on the Congress. But because this is a private school, unless there's strings attached in the receipt of those federal funds, they can do it.
What about in the way of scholarships? I mean, a lot of kids that go to these private schools are getting some form of federal aid.
Well, it's interesting, the level of punishment that he got, which permits him to take classes but not to do everything else. It's actually a little bit more difficult for him, even though his day is going to be miserable. He can't say hello to this person. He can't go to this cafeteria. He can't visit his friend in this dorm, but he can go to classes and take the classes and take exams and write papers. Can he use the library? Can he use other facilities? It's very interesting. I would suggest that his lawyers do sue. I would suggest they sue in federal court, not in state court, and let a federal judge look at the strings that are attached to the money that goes to this school and decide whether or not they can interfere with his freedom of speech and to what extent.
Interesting case. Harry, hope you were listening. Judge, always good to see you. Thank you very much. We're going to be back.